O Great Spirit, saints, sages of all times, of all places, O ye powers that be, in all realms, O ye powers that be of the air, the earth, fire, water, ether, ancestors of our bloodlines, ancestors of our spiritual lines, ancestors of all of our adopted lines, those of friendship, those of neighborliness, those of family, those of teachers, ancestors of our spiritual lines. Namaste. Most beloved and precious Lord of life, most beloved and precious Ishtadevata, in all of thy names, so intimate to each of us, we call upon thee to bless us with thy presence, to bless us with thy loving presence, thy warm, compassionate, understanding, loving presence. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to our Sunday Sangha. Once upon a yogi time, there were two twins born. Both boys. And by the fate of karma, they were separated at birth. One went to live with his family in India, and the other went to live with his family in non-India, India, away from India, away from the mother truth of his ancestors. From a very young age, the boys were raised. The boy in India was taught that all of life is alive, that all of life is goodness, that God exists in everything, everything, and that to attune to God, he had to attune to life. And so he did. He played with the birds, he went down by the river, he walked in the river, he played with the fish. He was very happy, and he felt very content. Each day he would turn inward and he would meditate, and he would meditate, and he would meditate. He had a wonderful, wonderful grandmama that he stayed with. And whenever he did something that was boyish or a little troublesome, she would gently call him to her and say, perhaps you should do it this other way. This other way might be more harmonious. Now, that was all well and good. His twin went to a country where they were much more formal in their relationship with God. And he was taught to fear God. He was taught that if he did not behave, he was going to go to hell. Whatever that was. They didn't tell him, but it sounded very bad. Every time he made a mistake, God can see everything you're doing. You're going to be punished for that. You have to make up for your sin. And in a very short time, the boy, the other twin, became afraid of God. He became a God-fearing boy instead of a God-loving boy. And there was a problem because here it is that they kept saying to him, oh, yes, God is wonderful. God is good. You have to turn to God when you have problems, when you need help. And at the same time, this God that he was to turn to was a wrathful God, a punishing God. It made it a little hard and a little bit of confusion. One day, as the karma would have it, the winds would blow and the twins came back together. They were sent to the ashram of the family's guru. First time the boys had seen each other in many, many decades. And so here you have one with joy, feeling a great joy to go to the house of the guru. He had been hearing wonderful things. And in the other, you have fear. Oh, well, if I'm going to be afraid of God, what is this guru going to do to me? Oh, they come to the house. And they're welcomed, 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 welcomed. "24 hours goes by. And like boys, they kind of get in a little bit of trouble. They do some things that they weren't supposed to do. They went down by the wrong path. They walked where the tigers were. Just little tiny things that the guru could have said, no, 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 no. When she found out, which she did. But instead, she called them to her and sat them down and said, so tell me what happened. She says to Raj. And he says, oh, Guruji, I'm sorry. I kind of got messed up here, and but I know you'll forgive me. I know you'll forgive me. Grandmama said, God is always forgiving, and Guru is God. Mother is God. Father is God. Brother is God. Sister is God. Friend is God. Guru pats him, gives him a blessing. Just wait here a minute. Michael, what about what you did today? Oh. Oh, a lot of O's. Please don't punish me. Please. He was trembling. He was so afraid. He was trembling. He was so afraid. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And with all of the warmth and love in her heart, all of the love, the Guru says to him, oh, Michael, God forgave you before you ever did these things. The divine sees and understands you are part of this. You are forgiven no matter what you have done. No matter what you have done, before you have even thought of it, before you've even thought of the mischief or the difficulties, you have been accepted and you have been forgiven. And she reached over and blessed him. And with that, the young man cried and cried and cried. And all of the ice in his heart melted away, and all of the fear in his heart melted away. And he remembered his goodness. He remembered that life is good. He remembered life is good to him. He remembered the time when he felt accepted, when he felt as if he was a part of. The time before the fear, a time before all of the difficulties of growing up set in with him. And he said, Guruji, what can I do so that I will remember, so that I will never again forget? What can I do to plan for next week, to prepare for next week, for next month, for next year, for next lifetime, so I do not forget? For I was blinded by the fear. I was blinded by what everybody else told me, and I could not see the reality. What can I do? Well, you know the answer, right? You know what she said. Meditate. Meditate, 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 meditate. Let no thing come between you and your meditation. No thing come between you and your meditation. Make time in your day for your meditation. Make time in your day for your tarka, your deep reflection. And make time in your day to strengthen your aura so that you can look inward, not at the same level, not down here at the Mars chakra, but ascending. You can look inward, you can ascend upward, and you can see that which needs to be done in your life. And, your brother had some piece of excellent karma. He lived where they told him that the divine was good, where they told him life was good. This is where he lived. You have had to learn in a different way. You lived in a world of fear. Now, you and I know that most of us live in a world of fear. Most of us have been taught that, the children, the mother says, if you don't behave, I'll tell your father when he comes home. It's the sun and the moon. The moon is the fluctuation. The moon is the lunar principle, the loving, caring principle. And the sun is simply the life force. But, Mama says for so many years, if you're not good, I'll tell Papa when he comes home. And you know what Papa's going to do. It is an abdication of responsibility. But more than that, it creates a nugget of fear in the child, in the human, in your mind, in my mind, related to the solar energy, the energy of the authority. So that happens. Yeah. You go to school, there's the authority. You go to work, there's the authority. And that nugget of fear grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows until it sits in the pit of your stomach. Until you begin to solidify and believe. You believe that authority is cruel, that authority is unkind, that authority is not going to be of service or of help. Now, the only authority that really matters in your life or in my life, in our life, is our attunement to the laws of nature, the laws of life. My turning to the laws of life, your turning to the laws of life. You're understanding them. The authority upon which I must live my life and upon which you must live your life is the authority of that inner higher wisdom. The gems above the head of God, the jewels, they are called above the head of God. Wisdom, compassion, nonviolence. Wisdom, compassion, nonviolence. Above the head of God. Nonviolence, there is nothing to fear. The divine is not going to wreak havoc upon your life. Now, the laws of nature will certainly bring a little bit of ups and downs and waves, and these states of consciousness are above. They are the jewels that crown the divine. Wisdom. What must you do in your life? Whatever you want to. That's what you must do. What would benefit you to do in your life, perhaps, is to gain wisdom. I know you've got wisdom. Gain ever greater wisdom, ever stronger wisdom. Wisdom that applies, that is practical and applies to your life. Not only your life now, but your life. As they say in the Gita, we must prepare for that which is to come. You must see now, quietly within your meditative state, where you are. And you must prepare for that which is to come to you. You receive an inheritance from Mama and Papa. Good Jupiter piece of karma. You start a new business and money rolls in, but just as much as it rolls in, it rolls out. The Jupiter has come into the second house of your horoscope, and lots of wealth comes in and lots of wealth goes out. Or you've inherited money through the 8th house, and money comes in. What do you do with it? Sometimes we make choices where it goes out. It all goes out. Okay. Remember always the cycle of life. Life is a cycle. The money comes in, the wealth, the earth prana is really what it is. Money is nothing more than earth prana, or is earth prana, which is everything. The prana that we gain, the prana that we need to keep these beings, these bodies that we're involved, that we're living in, alive and well. Now that sounded odd to say to you that the earth prana is everything. It does not say that we need to accumulate oodles and scoops and buckets of euro or yen or dollars or rupees. It says that we need enough to keep this being alive. Whatever enough is for you. Enough water, enough little rice, some almonds, perhaps. The key is that we need to know, you and I, the nature of life, the nature of the time we're living in, the way we're living, and how our life is going to unfold. And so, oftentimes you will see people coming to retirement age and they haven't saved. Not so good. Thinking maybe that their son or daughter will take care of them, or somebody else will take care of them. Many years ago, I was listening to a young person who had gone to university, and she chose the university she went to, and she went through her undergraduate studies and she acquired student loan debt. She went to her graduate studies and she acquired student loan debt. So she had a lot of student loan debt, but she chose the schools that she went to, and she chose the program she was in. Nobody forced her, she chose. And so she was talking to me one day, and she said, somebody has to do something about this. This just isn't right. Somebody has to do something. Somebody has to do something about this. This just isn't right. Somebody has to do something. Somebody has to do something about this. This just isn't right. And I said, well, the only one that I know, after the third time she said it, the only one that I know that can do something about this is you. You're the only one that I know. You know, if you wait on some other being to do it, it's not likely it's going to happen. Maybe you need to learn more about the nature of money on the earth. I don't know, you know. Have you studied it? Do you understand how it works? Maybe you could find a book to read, or maybe you could find a course to take. Well, I'll be darned. That was really one of the few times in my life where I got to see the results of a suggestion. And wouldn't you know, she went out and studied. She went out, I mean, she's just right. That was, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, you know, and she has her finances in order now, and she's paying down that debt, and she has studied and studied and studied, and she goes to this person and she studies them, and she likes this or studies that. She studied it. She gained the skill that she needed. Somehow she knew and remembered that she was the one who had to take the action. What about you? Within you lies the wealth, the knowledge, the wisdom of all of your lifetimes. All of the good karma that you have generated in all of your lifetimes, it is within you. All the wisdom, all the languages, all of the love relationships that you've had, and all of the not so love relationships you've had, but all of the wealth of your lifetimes is within you. You just have to tap it. To tap it means to meditate and to attune then to the jewels above the head of God. Wisdom. How do you gain wisdom? You remember. You observe. You remember. Look around you. You're looking for a promotion. Well, what did the other people do? What skills do they have? Maybe you should see. If you want to develop those skills, maybe you should talk to people who have done what you want to do. No, you want to bake a perfect cake. Maybe you should talk to someone who has done that before and learn from them or observe. My gosh, today you live in a world where you can, anybody will give you anything, give you any kind of advice. Watch it, be careful. I took a tour yesterday of TikTok for the first time. Wanted to see what they were saying on Kriya Yoga. And there was a young man giving away what he thought was a great Kriya Yoga secret, which he happened to give it away improperly, but you know, it was interesting to see. Observe, be careful of the sources from which your wisdom comes, is what I would say. Anybody who tells you they know everything, watch out for. But what does it say? It says you have the wisdom from the past. Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go, whatever you think is the proper thing in your life, gain the wisdom to do it. In the Mother Teresa, when Mother Teresa had the vision that she needed to leave teaching and go serve the poor, she didn't pick up and go right away. She got medical training before she went, so that there was something that she could do. Now they say today that one of the biggest problems that is had at their her hospitals and the places where she cares for the poor is that tourists show up with no skills and they want to volunteer for an hour or 6 hours or a day or whatever, but no skills, nothing to offer. They haven't planned. Think about what you envision your life going forward. What wisdom do you need to obtain? And how are you going to attain it? And the second jewel of compassion. To cultivate compassion requires that you and I see the others, that we lift off the blindness of the thumb that blocks the sun, and we see their needs, we see their desires, we see their fears, and we do everything we can within ourselves to neutralize the fears that rise in our mind. If you and I neutralize the fears that rise in our mind, that radiates forth to others, and we can help them by helping ourselves. We can't remove their fears, but we can sure do an awful lot to help them to remove their fears. Speaking softer, speaking more kindly, listening. Compassion is the ability to set aside your desires, your ego needs, the need that you have for acceptance, the need you have for approval, the approval of others, to set it aside, but to see that all of the others have the same thing that you do. I know. If you need the approval of others or want the approval of others, they do too. It may not look like it to you, but it is a condition of human existence. See what they need and try to give it to them. And I don't mean walking down the street and seeing somebody's asking for money and you pull out $1 and toss it at them. I mean, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody has a need for money, you've prepared ahead of time and you have kindness and you hand it to them. You look at them, give them respect. But that's what they need, acceptance and respect. That's what you and I want, isn't it? Respect. The ability to live our lives as best as we can, as comfortably as we can. And so every day, there is a need to reflect and say, what do I know about being compassionate? What do I know about compassion? What have I seen? Where have I experienced compassion? And emulate that, become like that. Accept them for where they are. Don't judge them. Accept them. Doesn't mean you have to like where they are. Doesn't mean you have to look at, allow anybody to walk over you or harm you, but accept, and understand in that acceptance. And then the third jewel above the head of God, nonviolence. Yeah, this jewel above the head of God, God is not a fearful, wrathful being. That is the vision of the human mind. That is the vision of the person who wants to control the other. If you think God is bad and I can help you, well, then got a pretty good gig going on here, If I say to you, well, the only way that you can get to God is if you come to me. Stay away from people who say that. You should have a direct ability, a direct primary experience to turn inward, to meditate, to attune to your Ishtadevata, the bridge to your immortality, the bridge to the reality. But how really does one do this? And where does this nonviolence live within us? It all is within the thought forms that we draw to us. Only those things which we are relative to come to us. You hear me say that again and again. If you are relative to a thought in the right time, in the right place, it will come to you. Why don't you try being relative to the thought of your own enlightenment, the thought of your own happiness, the thought of living in a peaceful, compassionate world filled with wisdom and sharing. A thought of living in a world in which you know that there is enough. Where, oh where, is the wisdom of yesteryear? Where, oh where, is all of the wealth and all of the joy and all the love you have from yesteryear? It's within you. It is within you. There once was a man who was looking for a treasure. He had heard that there was a buried treasure, gold coins that would last him a lifetime. The rumors were abound in the city that he lived. He packed up his knapsack, put his camelback on filled with good fresh spring water, and set off. And off he went, and he trudged 1 day and 2 days and 3 days and walked from his city to the next city, kept looking up at the stars at night and asking the divine, please show me the treasure. I need this treasure. I really need this treasure. Gets to the other city, sits and meditates, sees that the treasure is under a tree. He's sitting under a tree, so he starts digging everything up, digging. Nada, nothing. No bag of coins, just a lot of dirt, some worms, some rocks. Very discouraged. Turns inward and meditates, and he hears, go home. Om, go om, go om. So chanting Om, he turns around and walks 7 days back to his home. And as he enters the courtyard of his home, he sees a little dent under the tree where he meditates all the time. And while he's gone, the rains had come, made this little dent. And peeking up from the dent was a tiny piece of material. But he was so distracted, he didn't really see that. And he went and sat in his meditation spot and meditated. And after a while, he became a little uncomfortable. Something was irritating him in his Saturn chakra. And he, this way, that way, try to get himself steady. Finally, he reaches under his Saturn chakra and pulls out the bag of gold coins and jewels that he had gone all the way to search. And it was there, right in his meditation spot, all along. But he had forgotten. He did not know. He had forgotten. You, my beloved, you have so much wisdom, so much goodness, so much good karma that you have accumulated all of your lifetimes, including this one, Let the cobwebs be swept away so that you can see that goodness and that you can draw upon it, sup upon the joy, sup upon the goodness. Sweep away the ego. Sweep away your desires for wanting everything in your way and in your time. Sweep it away. It causes pain and suffering, these desires. They cause pain and suffering. A young woman came to me a few days ago. Bless her, bless her, bless her. And she was in great pain, great pain. She decided that she should go to the board of directors of the small company that she worked for, and she should tell them that it was either her or the chairman of the board, because she just couldn't work with him anymore. I don't need to tell you the story. You know what the answer is. 99.99% of the time, it's, we're sorry you're unhappy, but you're welcome to leave, or we don't need your services anymore. Understand, remember, understand the reality. Know the right action in the right time. Hey, that didn't need to happen. Change what is the problem inside of you. Change the internal problem, the problem that exists here, the poor thinking, the erroneous thinking. We have to change it. So you sit, you meditate, neti. Allow me to see clearly. Ascend. Don't look from the same level. If I look out at the same level, all I say is the same thing. I have to ascend upward to be able to see more clearly. And so, what have I said today before we go to our meditation? I have said to you, you have great wealth. I have said to you, God is good. Life is good. The divine is good. God is not to be feared. The divine is not to be feared. And if in your awareness you feel that the divine is to be feared, then wash that thought form from your consciousness. It constricts and confines everything that you do. And it is a man-made thought. Why would you accept someone else's thought that is confining to you and harmful to you? Why would you do that? I'm not quite sure. But I encourage you to let go of it. I encourage you to realize that the goodness in life flows from you as you turn to life. Life will bless you. Life will help you. It doesn't mean that there aren't difficulties. There are. But they can be softened tremendously. Remembering wisdom. Wisdom is remembering all of those experiences that you've had, that moms had, that dads had, that your brothers have had, that your fellow employees have had, that your bosses have had, that your friends have had, that your neighbors have had, that the world at large that you see has had. Remember. Let go of that tunnel vision and expand your horizon of awareness so you can see. So the wisdom you gain is the wisdom much broader. than that which is in this little narrow confined. And with that wisdom, flow with understanding, with compassion for others, and then flow into nonviolence. Stop thinking negative things about yourself and about others. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Remember the goodness that you are. Remember the times of happiness and bring them alive again. You know, when the thoughts arise in the mind and they're difficult, return to the neti practice. Neti, I'm not this thought. Neti, I'm not the thought thinking this thought. Neti, I am not thought. And turn inward and meditate. So let's do that. Let's turn inward and meditate and return to clear seeing, return to lifting, so that we might see clearly that which needs to be seen. For you and me for me. Seeing clearly will help you to see that which you need at this time. And a little bit further down the road. Namaste, Ji. Focus your attention at the sun center. Turning your head to the left, exhaling twice. Bring your head back to the center, beginning to watch your breath. Sit with your hands in the Om Mudra, the index finger and the thumb together, the other three fingers pointed towards your spine, pointed towards the center of your being. Placing them on the thighs. Using the sipping breath, draw the energy from the limbs to the trunk. From the trunk to the spine. From the base of the spine to the sun center. Move that energy as a golden ball of light out in front of you. And sweep it around to the left, behind your body, encasing your entire being in golden light. And do this 2 more times. Expand that golden ball of light. And now ascend upward. Ascend upward to the high place. Moving above the room, the building, the city, the state. Ascend, 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 ascend. Ascend to the high place. ascending to the high place. You see in front of you a path. Step upon that path. It walks through a meadow. The meadow is teeming with life. Birds of all kinds, flowers of all kinds and colors, butterflies. You walk through the path, breathing in the sunlight. The path ascends, begins to enter the forest. A cool forest. Ascending upward with ease. Hear the stream running next to you. See the sunlight through the trees. You see a clearing ahead. You realize you have ascended halfway up the mountain. The clearing leads you to the grove of ancient beings. Their quiet fills the space. In front of you is a beautiful shrine. You are invited to enter. The shrine is filled with light. Breathe in the light. Walking to the back, you see the pool, a pool of colored light. Walk into the light and feel your body sinking into the light and walking towards the waterfall in front of you. The light pours down upon the high place, pouring down upon you. You see the light pouring down from as far, as high as you can see. Stand in the light. The light pours down upon your crown center, through your crown center, through every cell of your being, flowing out your fingertips, flowing out your skin, flowing out your feet, flowing out every cell of your being. Feel the karma dissolving away. Feel the blindness dissolving away. All the heavy karmas. Your being is filled with light. The light is pouring in all the colors that you need, filling the emptiness. When you are ready, walk forth from the light. Feel yourself walking above the pool of light. New clothes, new skin, healthy. Walk through the cave, the shrine, into the grove of the ancients. And there you sit, calling upon your Ishtadevata, watching your breath, inhaling the deep silence. Feel the golden dewdrops pouring upon your head. Ananda, 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 da. Call upon your Ishta Devata to join you, to be with you. Your Ishta who is with you always. Become aware of the blessings of the divine. Become aware of your Ishta who has never left you. Your most beloved and precious Ishta who accepts you as thou art. Who has forgiven you before you ever even thought the thought. Whose being is filled with compassion for you, with understanding of you, with acceptance of you. Ananda, 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 da, da. Open your heart, open your mind's eye to accept the blessings of life, to sup upon the goodness of life at this very moment. And with each breath that you breathe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. In your mind's eye, bring forth an image of someone whom you love, that you wish to share the Shanti with. And let us chant the Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now bring to your mind those family close to you, friends close to you, to share the Om Shanti, radiated forth as golden light from your sun center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now bring forth in your mind's eye those who are in need, whom you feel are most in need. Again, the Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And now let us radiate that forth, that Om Shanti forth, to all beings in all realms, that the best and highest good be felt, that the best and highest good for each soul manifest in their lives. and that the best and highest good manifest in ours. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Most beloved Lord of life, pour forth thy blessings. Pour forth thy blessings. Bring forth thy blessings and pour them forth upon each soul as they need. Om Gam, Om Gam, Om Gam. Om Gum, Om Gum, Om Gum. Om Aim, Om Aim, Om Aim. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Holding that peace and tranquility and anandic bliss. As you are ready, return your awareness to the earth, remembering the wealth that thou art, the memory track that you have, the goodness, the wisdom, the skills that you have from the past. Remembering always the wisdom, compassion, and nonviolence, the jewels above the head of God. Remember your goodness. Remember your goodness. Prepare for that which is to come in the next breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Namaste. Namaskar. Thank you for the blessings of your presence, for your Yoga City, for all of the blessings of sharing this time with you.